guys, blew up bad. My legs are completely shocked. My quads and hamstrings are cramping like crazy. I have about 8 to go, 8K. I'm gonna try, but it's not looking good. Very disappointing, guys. This one hurt. Oh, I did it, man. It's not a PB, but I'm so proud. So proud of myself, man. What a fight. Well, let's do it over again. Just me now. So I'm running another marathon, which we're here to discuss, but Mark is actually running another marathon of his own. He's going to run the Toronto Marathon again. So we're probably going to get some clips of him on the channel every once in a while. But honestly, I just wanted to talk quickly about like what happened, where we've been for the last better part of the year. Obviously we started a channel documenting our journey to the Toronto Marathon, and for all three of us, the Toronto Marathon ended up being a very tough day. So we ended up like not getting a lot of clips because obviously we were focused on surviving on that day. So we had some clips, but we just didn't have enough to make an actual like video that could make anything out of it. So but overall, just what happened, I think I went in feeling really good. I was super motivated, felt in great running shape. Like I hit some paces that I'd never hit before, especially on a long run. And I got there, so I really thought I did everything right and everything, but I got there the day of the marathon, and I was trying to change my times. I was debating, because at first my goal was like sub 4:30, to all the way down to sub 4:15, to sub 4 hours, to then sub 3:45. But I never really changed that on my registration. So my starting corral was all the way back. And even though I could have just moved up, like it's not that serious of a marathon. Like I was starting with a group with, that's 4 hours and more. And I ended up starting all the way back. And I ended up with a group with like a 4:30, 4:25, I believe, group. And I was like, oh shoot, okay. So I really didn't have any pacers. Plus I had the wrong setting on my watch. So the watch wouldn't show me my paces until I was done with a mile. So I didn't know what pace I was running. So I got out way too fast. And every mile I was hitting, it was like significantly lower than the pace I was supposed to be running. And around 10 miles, I felt a cramp, and I was like, no, like I was distraught. I tried not to panic, but I was distraught. I was like, not this early. Like what? Like I haven't dealt with cramps my whole training. So try to push through. It actually went well. Like for the better part of it, I was like able to push through, still hit my paces. And around like 19 to 20 miles, I just blew up completely. I was just, couldn't, like both legs just seized up completely, front and back. Anytime I would I would walk just to try to loosen it up. And anytime I would start running, it would seize up completely. And I really had the last 10K, I really had to run walk the whole time. And that was really, really tough. But yeah, so left there very disappointed. Honestly, to me, I was just like, I just put so much work into this, and it wasn't something where I just, I really committed, whether it was time, effort, time away from family and things like that. So that was tough. So I decided to take a little bit of a break from running, just to allow myself to recover. Like hamstring and quads were just shocked like afterwards. So took a little bit of a break, and at that point, I was already signed up for another marathon in Paris. And I think the week of the marathon, I put my name like the right before the marathon. I put my name in the lottery for Chicago, and I ended up getting in, which is what brings us here today. But we'll cover that in a little bit. But I did decide to take a little bit of time off of running. I lost. I think I lost a lot of. Not I think, but I know for a fact I lost a lot of running fitness. Plus, on top of that, dealing with. Now I was going through a block where I was running in the winter time. My wife and I, we welcomed our second son on December 29th, right? So right before I was going into this block. And I dealt with a few injuries, and those aren't necessarily excuses, because there's plenty of people that battle through some of these. Those are just kind of things that happened that I know contributed to me being, part of it was me not keeping my shape that I took into the Toronto Marathon and kind of getting myself discouraged. But those are realistic things that happened to me, right? So that ended up being a very tough training blocks. I missed so many runs, skipped so many runs, skipped a lot of my long runs. And I was signed up at that point. My target was 3:30. And I was like, that's just not going to be possible, but I couldn't change it on the website. I went back into the registration and that one was actually blocked. I couldn't change it. So I kind of got to Paris, we're visiting family and everything. And I was like, listen, I'm just going to do my best. The last weeks leading up to the Paris Marathon was some of my best ones. I actually I was finally getting in shape. So I was like, hey, let's just see how it goes. Enjoy the scenery, enjoy what it is. I'm just gonna kind of enjoy the run with no goal. And a big thing for me was I wanted to be able to walk afterwards so I can enjoy the rest of my trip there. So that's just kind of what I went in and had a blast, right? Like Paris was such a beautiful run. You're kind of discovering all these places, all these parts of Paris. And one thing that I found really cool is not knowing the course. So we're literally just running. And I think in Toronto, because I was so familiar with everywhere I was running because I'm from there, it was like, I know how far I have to go and then come back and all these different things. So that was mentally tough too. Where in Paris, it was just like, you just run it. At some point there, it's going to say finish line. So I really ended up enjoying that day, even though it wasn't a crazy fast time. And then coming off of that, I was, so we spent some time in family in Europe, went to London, Switzerland, all over the place. And a month and a half later, after the Paris Marathon, I raced in a hometown half marathon, right where I live. And I tried to keep that running momentum. So even while I was on vacation, I tried to step out for a couple of runs, when I started getting my legs back under myself. And I set a goal that was, challenging, but also attainable, which would land in a PR, but it wasn't like this crazy, like 15, 20, 30-minute PR in a half marathon. It was, it was going to be a very small PR, and it was like, okay, that way I can train. It's going to be challenging, but at the same time, I gave myself grace as I build back my running fitness again. And it ended up going well. I trained with friends, some of my friends. We built what we call our little home run club. But, we're trying to get some people in there, but we have no idea how to get people to join us on these runs. Because some of our runs are actually really hard because we just follow the plans. So we're like, this would not be fun if someone's like a beginner. But one of my friends actually signed up and we ran the half marathon together, ended up finishing in similar amount of time. So that was actually really, really fun. And it was good to overall, build confidence, end up hitting my time by like literally couple seconds. And it was just good to build back confidence as we go now into the next block, which brings us here today, obviously. So next up, the Chicago Marathon. It's going to be my first world major. I'm super excited. I'll speak about the goals, strategy, and some of the changes I'm bringing to this training, and also the race over the course of the weeks. That's really what I'm documenting this for. But it's very exciting. I think that my goal is really to soak in the process, soak in the race weekend, I really get to the point where I started enjoying running again, right? Like I can go again on an easy run and just enjoy running, which I had lost a little bit running throughout the winter. So I did set some ambitious goals for myself, but I'm really excited to challenge myself again this time, realistically. But I also do really want to soak in just, like I said, not the process leading up to it, but when I get there, the weekend as a whole, just the events that are going on, the stories, the people. I think that that's what makes this beautiful. I think that that's really what got me excited about running when I first got into it, is just hearing some of the people's background with whether it's fitness, sports, the stories behind the marathon. So I don't want to miss out on that. Sometimes, especially coming from an athlete background, I treat running like, oh, it's game day, and I get so laser focused. So, I do want to get some of that, but also don't miss out on a lot of what's going to be going on. But for now, yeah, the goal is just going to be, to document the journey, mainly for myself, honestly, and for the guys as we continue through our running journey. It's been tough, but for anyone who cares, that's kind of in the same place in life, right? Maybe they're young family, having kids and everything, and they're still, maybe I inspire someone to start running, take on some kind of fitness. It doesn't have to be running. And maybe you meet one viewer in Chicago. That's why I'm doing this. So I'm going to keep documenting things and just how I approach the process from nutrition, recovery, cross training, and all those different things. Because I do find it, I'm a little geeky, and you guys will probably see that throughout the next few weeks. And I do find it interesting. So if there's someone else that does, cool. If not, well, I'm making these videos for myself. But yeah, honestly, let's just do it again. 16 weeks. We'll try and get better. Hopefully, crush our goals this time. But let's get to running. Well, technically it's 9 p.m., so we'll get to bed now. But after that, let's get to running.